Do you think that work ethic is like one of your superhero powers?
I think it helps. I think it definitely is. That's my drive. You know, I've worked on some of the most amazing vehicles in the world. For instance, they made 5 Batmobiles, the original ones from the Adam West era. I got to work on the number 5. So they moved it, and they weren't supposed to. They ran into a boat trailer and cracked the front of it, the fiberglass. So this dude's freaking out. He's like, oh my God, Scott, what are you going to do, man? Can you fix this? And I was like, yeah, no worries. He's like, no. Seriously, it's the Batmobile. I get it. It's a $2 million car, but it's fiberglass.
Welcome to Henderson HQ. This is the podcast where you get all the stories behind the businesses that make our community tick. Don't forget to subscribe to our weekly newsletter. Hey, it's Scott Groves with the Henderson HQ podcast. Today, we interviewed Scott Wright, who owns Wright Bet Auto Body, one of the few independently owned auto body companies here in the Henderson area. Great guy, interesting stories, and everything from working on your basic car all the way up to a $2 million Batmobile from the original Adam West TV series of Batman. And talked a lot because, man, he's been here for 25 plus years. Talked a lot about his favorite hotspots, his favorite restaurants, the most dangerous places to drive in Henderson. So enjoy this episode with Scott Wright from Wright Bet Auto. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Scott Groves with the Henderson HQ podcast, also Henderson HQ newsletter if you haven't subscribed yet. I'm actually here with my new friend, Scott Wright, which is kind of cool because he's one of the first people that responded to our newsletter when we first got it started. He's like, man, we got to do something. I own an auto body shop here. I'm sick of paying for Yelp leads and Google leads. And it's one of those things where like people don't know they need us until they need us and they crash their car. So what do we need to know about owning an auto body shop in Henderson?
Well, it's small town feel. I mean, that's what brought me to Henderson. I've got family that's out here. They live right by the shop, and my house is 8 minutes away from door to door, so it's just convenience. And then having the family so close is awesome. I mean, that's the best part. My parents are here, my sister's here, my sons work for me. My best friend's one of the managers. It's just worked out great. And so that and just having the homes out here with larger properties. I think you get more bang for your buck when I bought out here about almost 20 years ago. So
20 years you've been in Henderson?
Yeah, almost 20 years.
So how did the auto body, how did it start? Did you work at like a Mako or something like that and then decide to do your own thing? Or how did you get into this crazy business?
So when I was in college, my dad bought into a franchise, and this franchise used to do, ding repair, bumper repair, things like that on site for dealerships, rental cars, just mobile guys. So they were in trailers, and I would come out in the summer times and, hey, I need some money. Well, good, go earn it. So I'd go out there, wash the cars. I learned to polish the cars. Okay, tape a car. Then, okay, now body work. And I just worked my way over the summers working for my father. And so I just, helping out the guys. And that's how I'd make some dough to be able to go and have fun in the summers when I was off from school. But I was literally going to school to be a dentist was my dream or my idea.
What? You were going to school to be a dentist?
Yeah. So
ended up in auto body?
Yeah, I was pre-med, and I was doing my undergrad. And, I looked at optometry, and then I was like, okay, I want to do ophthalmology. Then I was like, well, the guy pulled me aside, an anesthesiologist, said, hey, man, what do you want to do? And I said, I don't know. I want to make money. He goes, well, I'll tell you what. He goes, unless you're dead set on being an optometrist, I would have gone dental. I wish I would have changed and done this. And so he talked to me into going to dental, and I started volunteering for my doctor that was my dentist since I was a kid. And he had me lined up to really like almost take over his business when I got done with dental school. And my father was going to sell the business. And when I was working for him right out of college, and he's just like, hey, what do you want to do? And I was like, well, I'll help you. Well, I was going to go into school. And anyway, reverse back a little bit. He goes, we always had my way of running things. He had his, and I was trying to work with him. And he told me when he sells it, just stick with me for like 6 months. And then, if it doesn't work out, I'm just going to close it and do whatever you want to do. So I was going to get a piece of the action if I stayed with it. So, okay, cool. Good idea. Well, 6 months turned into a year, and then it was like, well, what do you want to do? And I go, well, I don't want to go back to school. I started making money. I was selling houses, buying them, fixing them up, doing that whole thing, and fell into it. And so he pretty much turned it over to the keys to me, and he went back to work in Phoenix. And so when he moved back to go down there because he was retired like 3 times over, when I was a kid, and kept going back to work. So that's how I fell into it. And then
a serial entrepreneur, your dad?
Yeah, he's a builder. He's always into building. So when he'd have a project, he's retired, they'd call him, hey, can you bail us out? Can you get us out of this? And so he would go in there and clean up the mess that they made, and then, look like the hero. And then he'd go retire again, and then make a bunch of money and retire again. So he just kept doing this throughout the years after he got older.
And where was this first auto body, portable detail shop that you guys had?
So it was all out of the house. So my parents lived up in the lakes, and, that was like childhood home. And so we ran everything out of the home base, but it was mobile. So the technicians would have the trailers or the vans, whatever we had at the time, and take them home. And that's how it worked out. And so it was just totally mobile. So it never had a facility. Well, when I took it over was like '08, and economy was crashing. Everything was kind of going, downhill. And so I was like, well, what am I going to do? And so I went into my first shop, and I rented a place out. And a month later, I outgrew it. Everyone heard I had a place. They're like, let's send the cards to Scott.
So wait, brand new business. You get a shop, you outgrew it in a month?
In a month. Yeah, I had so many people that were, because we were all mobile. We wouldn't do the big work. We would just do your dings and dents, your bumper stuff, little things. And I just said, okay, let's try it out. And so we went and rolled the dice and had a place I rented out. And like I said, within a month, I was just full of cars. And I was like, the other guy I partnered with, he was getting upset because he's like, man, you have all the business. We're supposed to be splitting this place and there's no room for my stuff. I said, well, we weren't getting along. So I went and rented a building on the other side of town off Decatur by the animal shelter. And within a year, I outgrew that place. So then, oddly enough, I found the shop in Henderson. There was a realtor I got with, and he helped me with the place. Said, hey, I got a place with a paint booth in it. It's an old body shop. The guy's ready to hand the keys over. He needs someone to take it over. So I was like, all right. I met with him. We went down there. It was perfect fit, and he had two sides to the place. You've been to my place. It has two buildings. So the original building would be the right if you're looking at the front, and that had the paint booth in it. I said, look, I can't afford both these. I was like, but I could take over one for sure. And he's like, well, okay. So he took a chance on me, and we did after about 2 to 3 years, I was killing it. I mean, the shop took off, making money. I said, look, man, my lease is up with you. I really want to buy a building. I don't want to, I love what you did for me. Thank you. But if I can't buy this building, I'm going to go find one and, invest into my own company. He goes, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll make a deal with you. He goes, let's do a rent to own. He goes, I'll give you percentages of whatever you pay for rent goes towards your purchase. I said, okay, cool. So we did that for a few years. And then I want to say it's been about 6 years. And the other side of the building came up for lease. He goes, what do you want to do? You got first right of refusal. I said, well, business has been great. Well, maybe it's time for expansion. So I bought that building, and then the remainder balance I had in the other building went into one loan. And so I sat out there after signing a contract for a buttload of money. I go, or, a deal with the bank, and I'm going, oh my God, how am I going to do this? I got this business, it's doing well, but my nut just got big. So what do I do? And I said, what the heck? So I rolled the dice. And I remember I was literally out there just sobbing in my car going, I just signed the biggest contract for my life. Hope to God I can pay for this. And ever since then, since it expanded, it's been doing great. I mean, it really was the move I needed. It gave me the room I had, and it looks great. I mean, it's an actual, big shop that, we run with the big boys now.
So when I talk to business owners, they're always like, I just got lucky. Right place, right time, got lucky with this. But like, you don't accidentally outgrow a space, have a thriving business, be able to get a commercial loan. Like, that doesn't happen on accident. So when you came out of the detailing mobile business, what happened, or what were you doing with clients, or like what service were you providing where like, okay, now you got a full shop, you're just our go-to guy. Like that level of customer service and that level of like loyalty, it does not happen on accident. And I don't like letting business owners off the hook where they're like, oh yeah, we just 5x'd our business. And I'm like, that didn't happen on accident.
No, it didn't. Here's a great example. So there was an anesthesiologist that my dad was doing his cars when he was just a resident, getting out of school and, making his name in Vegas. And, we got to know him. We got to know his family, his kids. We would go to his house. He always had, older cars because he was in school and he couldn't afford anything. Well, of course, money started coming in. He started seeing the newer cars. His kids started driving. So during the mobile service, we'd go to his house and like we treated him like family. And then one time my dad did a vehicle when he owned it. And I was just working as a helper at the time. I think it was over the summer. The paint didn't match. They ran out of a toner. And again, you're mobile. You can't just walk down the street and pick up paint. So they said, look, and the guy was like, it's fine. It's good enough. My dad said, nope, you hold your money. I'll be back next week when I have, we have to get more paint. We're going to fix it and make it right. And the guy was like, geez, that was amazing. Like the guy didn't take my money. He came back, fixed it, didn't charge me extra. It was just a cool thing my dad did. And that's, how I always envied and, looked at businesses doing it the right way, the old school way, a handshake deal. And so this guy loved us. So when I took over, he just loved it because he knew me as a helper. And, I brought my little brother into it years ago when he was interested in it. And so we had this family business. And this guy was just amazing. So I had my business card for so many years in his wallet. And when you're in surgery as an anesthesiologist, you're just hanging out most of the time. You're talking while they're working. He would take photocopies of my business card and hand it to doctors, lawyers, whoever he knew. And it was so old and tattered, the copy that people would bring into my shop. They're like, you're looking at this thing, and you're like, oh my God, this thing's been in this guy's wallet for probably like 5 or 6 years. So I'm like, you need a new card, or maybe I need to laminate you one or make like a credit card, because he was the greatest for business. I mean, he was getting me so many referrals, and he was just such a cool guy. And then he, moved up to Reno, and I was so bummed. I'm like, man, this was one of our, I should have been paying him for all the referrals we were getting.
That's awesome. And do you think that type of like hometown feel, getting referrals from other business owners, do you think that would be possible in a city as big as LA or, Miami or something like that? Or is there something unique about Henderson? Like if you had to sell somebody on opening a business in Henderson in 30 seconds, what would you say is different about doing business here than elsewhere?
I think if you're a personal person and you take pride in what you do, Henderson's the place to be a business. I mean, everybody out here really, like, they know each other. I mean, you go to the store, I run to my neighbors, I run to people that have worked on their cars. I mean, it feels like a small town. It does not feel like you're in Vegas. It feels like you're in Henderson, like you're in another city. Like it's just, that's what my sister always told me when I lived in North Las Vegas, and she kept telling me when she moved out here, she goes, you're going to love this place. Like, wait till you get over in Henderson. Like, you got to get out here. And she kept trying to sell me on it. And until I moved here, I didn't really realize it. I'd come visit, and, we weren't living here, so we didn't realize that. But man, once I did, it was great. I mean, the people follow you. I mean, they tell their friends about you. I have people that literally drive all the way from the other end of the valley to use our business because of the work we've done. I mean, I had this older lady that lost her husband, and I'd go and pick up her car. And I mean, it was a 45-minute drive one way to go out there. And I would get her cars and bring them over here. And then she got so old, I think they finally pulled her license because she was, a great customer. Unfortunately, she couldn't drive very well, but that's what got us the business. And I think that really helped me out. Just that personability. And then, her, telling people about it. They're like, oh my gosh, somebody like that, that's who I want to spend my money with.
Yeah.
So,
there's this trend towards big hedge funds coming in and gobbling up businesses like yours, right? And like, oh, okay, well, we'll buy Wright Bet Auto Body, and then we'll buy this one and this one. We'll put them together, and we'll have scales of economy and whatnot. But I think once it becomes a nameless, faceless hedge fund that's the owner, all that personality goes away, right? All that customer service goes away. It's like now you're just a number in a computer, book online. And it doesn't mean to say that businesses owned by hedge funds can't do a good job, but it loses the Scott Wright touch, right?
Right. Everyone wants to talk to the owner. That's inevitable, but it's been great because now I got people under me that are just as good. I mean, they're the same way. They know how to treat people, and that's what sells it. I mean, they look at it and they're like, hey, if he's not here, and you look at our reviews. I mean, they mentioned people by name, and they're happy on what they've done for them. It's because they take accountability, and that's what I think Henderson's all about. I think it's just people out here, like, you don't do wrong because how it is. You do one thing right, a few people may hear about it. You do something wrong, everyone's going to hear about it.
Right.
So it's almost like high school. You have to maintain your reviewability or whatever you want to call that.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In base training, they said it only takes one F up to wipe out 10 attaboys.
It is.
It's so true, right?
It's true. And I don't know, I'm sure you've dealt with Yelp and all these other, Yahoo places that to advertise, and it sucks because, if you look, we have like 300 and something reviews, and they only post like 200 and change of them. And I mean, these are legit reviews. And I go under there and I look, and these ones that are on there, like, they're not recommended. And I go, these are legit people. I can show you receipts. And I've argued with Yelp, and I've spent money with Yelp. And I'm like, this is BS. I don't want to spend money with you if you're not going to just leave them all. Yeah. The thing is, leave every review, good, bad, fake, whatever, because majority are going to be real. I mean, we've got to think of it like, do it right. But that's why, if you look, Yelp has one of the worst reviews of themselves from everybody else that uses them. So yeah, and it's crazy.
What's your favorite, like, this could only happen in Henderson story, whether it's about a client or some awesome car you worked on, or what's the crazy, like, man, this wouldn't have happened in any other town except for Henderson?
Wow. All right. So, oh gosh, about 4 or 5 years ago, we were up in Alaska on a cruise, and small town feel, like, people know you, they see you. We walk into a jewelry store, and I'm in there just looking at some watches, and yada yada. This guy looks at me and goes, "You own a body shop in Henderson, don't you?" And I'm like, who the hell is this guy? And I'm looking at him. He looks familiar. He goes, "You fixed my dad's car last summer." And I go, "What?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "My dad lives in Henderson." He goes, "I remember because I took his car down there. You dealt with us personally, and you were super cool." He goes, I never forget your face." And I'm like, what the hell? I mean, I'm thousands of miles from my house, and, on a cruise ship. And I literally, on a port, I think we were in like Ketchikan or something like that. I mean, I have a hat on, I'm not, I look totally different. And this is years later, and this guy really remembered us. And I thought that was the coolest thing because he just, he couldn't say nothing but good things.
And was his dad's car like a 57 Bel Air, like something really special?
Basic, little,
speeder, Honda,
something he just scratched, going down the, parking it probably. And he was just like, man, you took care of us. He goes, I'll never forget that. And then, yeah, I think he actually sent his brother or somebody. He didn't even live there. He was just taking care of his dad. And they would so what they would do is they would have the business in Alaska. And then in the winter months, they would go down to the Caribbean. It was a jewelry store. And so they would travel. And so he's like, yeah, man, we're all over the place. So he's like, wait to come see us again. And cool. And I was just up there a couple of weeks ago, and I was going to go into his store, and I looked, and I didn't see him in there, but his store is still up there. So I don't know if he was not working or what, but I looked for him when I was about a month ago. We were just up there in Alaska.
Going back to your staff and your team members that you said, like, hey, when I'm not there, they can fill in for me at a high level. They can treat the client with the same amount of respect. Do you think that's something that you can teach and you can train employees, or do you just have to hire the right person and hold on to them? Because I could be convinced either way. Like that level of customer service is trainable, or no, you just got to find the right person and they'll make it happen.
I think you got to find the right person. I think that's probably 60% of it. People can be trained, but if you don't have it in your heart or you don't care about what you're doing, the training doesn't matter. They're not going to get it. You can lead a horse to water. You can't make it drink. Yeah. So what do you say with, employees? We there's a lot of turnaround in this business with employees, but I've been very fortunate because I take care of my guys. I treat them right, pay them what they deserve. And about 70% of the time when people leave, they try to come back. They want to get, they check on me a year or two later. Hey man, you hiring again? Like, and you can ask people, they know you. It's amazing. Like, okay, Facebook, for example. Someone puts on there, hey, I'm looking for a body shop, and they're in Henderson or wherever, even in the Vegas Valley. Anybody got recommendations? My sister went on there to put my name. She said before she could put my name on there, 3 other people popped up and had my name listed already. And it was like, she goes, I didn't even get a chance to send it yet. And like already people had responded, and she's like, I don't know how the heck you did this. And I was like, because it was a failing business. My dad's business was failing when I took it over.
It's so crazy because I walked into Ethereal Med Spa. Shout out to Ethereal Med Spa. We just had their owner, Dr. Cohen, on the podcast, and I was over there and I was buying my wife like a package to make her face all pretty and rejuvenated and whatnot. And I was talking to Vivian, the head of marketing over there. She was at the front desk. And she was like, yeah, man, the newsletter's so cool. We'd love to advertise in there or whatnot. Do you have anybody else that you're talking to? She kind of wanted like proof of concept. I'm like, yeah, I got this guy, Scott. He owns Wright Bet Auto Body. And I think we're going to do some advertising for him and just trying to help get the word out there. She's like, oh my God, I just got my car fixed there. They're the greatest people ever. I'm like, I felt like it was like, I don't know, I was on Candy Camera or something because it was just so perfect that the only other person that I talked to in the Valley, it's like, when I talk to people from moving here from LA, they're like, oh, you live in Vegas? And I'm like, well, I don't live on the Strip. Yeah. I live in Henderson. And it's like any other small community that you might live in the US, there just happens to be slot machines in the 7-Eleven. Yeah. And I don't think people get that. So what's something else that people maybe would be surprised about you, or something you do on the off time, or something you do for fun that like is outside of business, but you kind of get that access being here in Henderson?
Well, it's like, you put a face on at work, you're professional. You're always there, you try to be cordial and this and that. Well, I was a wild man. I mean, when I was younger, we grew up in Vegas. I mean, we had a friend that their parents owned a casino. It was like, we had there could have been so many wrong ways I could have turned out in this world. The best thing I ever did was in college. I went to Reno. I got out of Vegas. A lot of my friends at 18 were just going down the wrong paths. I mean, I tell people I've been to more funerals than I've been to weddings. I mean, just, you get into a lot of vices out here, and that's Vegas. I mean, it's just, we had a lot of fun people to hang out with, but a lot of them just never grew up. They kept that, that wildness from sports and from, just, the problem is that at a young age, there's too much money in this town. And a lot of these kids got, trust funds. And that's what killed them, because at 18, their money's there, and it's, their mentality of a 12-year-old. What are you going to do with it? So
their dad wasn't making them come to work during the summer doing auto body work.
Correct. My dad was, he was, you play, you pay. I don't care what you do. You get home, you're still going to be up at 6 a.m. cutting the grass or helping me remodel this bathroom or whatever. And that's what we did. I mean, we were, taught to work, and that's what you do. If you want to have a good time, great, you're allowed to. But you are there at work on time, and you're 100% no matter what you are. So that's what we always were like. That's just my mentality. So
do you think that work ethic is like one of your superhero powers?
I think it helps. I think it definitely is. That's my drive. And again, I always wanted to be successful. I mean, no matter what. And you kind of regret, because I fell into this, and I wanted to my thing was to be a doctor. I wanted to be a doctor. I don't care what, just be a doctor or something. That was my dream. But then when I got out of school, I started making money with real estate. You know, I started making money with the cars and stuff and doing other ventures. I'm like, God, I don't want to go be broke again. I don't want to be a student for another 4 years or 8 years, depending upon which path I went. And, and then I was, working with a dentist. It's, it's a great field. Don't get me wrong. But again, it's very boring. It's monotonous. You're just sitting there. So with cars, I mean, I get to play with, I'm a big kid with toys. I get to see some cool stuff. I get, I've worked on some of the most amazing vehicles in the world. I mean, for instance, they made 5 Batmobiles, the original ones from the Adam West era. I got to work on the number 5. I actually got to drive it to the guy's house that owned it up in Dragon.
Like, we're talking about the big fins, the
big black one.
What was the underlying car of that?
That was a Ford Futura. It was a concept vehicle by a Ford, and it was like this futuristic big bubble car. And then George Barris came in, and he's the one that made the monkeys. He did the cars for a lot of the monsters, a lot of the movie cars. So he designed that and made it for the Adam West era, the original Batman. And there was 5 made. This one was only in I think it was in one show, and it had this big lineage. It was actually used when the show was over to go and be a drag race car. So they would take it down the dragster, drag races, and it would be like this big promotion thing. It would shoot T-shirts out of cannons, and it had a flamethrower on the back. I mean, this thing was like the most dangerous thing in the world. They would drop kerosene out of the back and had, spark plugs that would ignite kerosene. You had to be going about 60 miles an hour before you could hit the fire thing, and it would just, dump fire out on the track. And this guy named Wild Bill Shrewsbury, I hate to, torture his name, but he was a famous drag guy, and he would run it. I mean, this thing had a blueprinted motor. It was amazing. And the guy that I got to work on it for just found me as a referral. And he wanted us to clean it up for a party he was having up at his house, a big house and real well-off guy. And he has a huge collection. So he took the Batmobile over down the street to a radio shop to have some cameras put in. It has no side view mirrors. I mean, he had this thing registered in California. It was amazing. Like he has houses everywhere. And in driving it, you can't see anything. I mean, it's not a street legal vehicle, but he had it street legal because he had it, registered in California. Anyway, longer story longer, he had the cameras mounted with a little camera video screen, and then the cameras were these little tiny hidden ones where you'd have your mirrors, so you could at least be able to drive it safely. And the guys that are putting it in, well, they want to take a picture in front of their building, so they moved it, and they weren't supposed to. The guy said, "Look, you park it here, you leave it here. If you need it moved, call me. I'll come move it." Well, they weren't listening. Moved it around to get a Photoshop in front of his building, ran into a boat trailer and cracked the front of it, the fiberglass. So this dude's freaking out. He's like, "Oh my God, Scott, what are you going to do, man? Can you fix this?" And I was like, "Yeah, no worries." He's like, No. Seriously, it's the Batmobile. Like, you can handle this. I'm like, "Yeah, bro, it's fiberglass." I get it. It's a $2 million car, but it's fiberglass.
It's $2 million, that car?
It was insured. It's whatever anyone will pay, but it was insured up for $2 million. So that's what, because he bought it at Cars of the Stars in Nashville, Tennessee. And it was just in pieces. Like, it was just jacked. And so there's a guy that builds Batmobiles, called Fiberworks out of in the Midwest somewhere. And this guy is the only one with a license from Marvel Comics to build the Batmobile. And so when I got done with the job, he flew this guy in that did the restoration on it to inspect my work. And I got a sign off from him, a thumbs up. And he goes, "Yes, they did it right." He's like, "Good. How many more cars can you handle?" And he kept bringing me cars. I mean, he was bringing me, 65 Corvettes that were, a couple $100,000. I mean, just cars that he got at Bear Jackson. That's what this guy did. I mean, he had money. He would just buy toys and use them for a little while, get bored and sell them back. And, just that's what he did. And so I had cars in my shop on a rotation basis. And that's what this guy is amazing. He was so cool. He was like one of my favorite clients ever, but then he moved to Texas, but he literally still sends us cars from Texas to work on because he didn't trust anybody else.
So is that your bread and butter, like the super high end stuff, or can you take a ding out of my wife's Tesla when she goes to the grocery store and somebody runs into her?
we 90% of our jobs are insurance work. We do fleets. We do City of Henderson. I do Coca-Cola, Southwest Gas. There's another company that does utilities for the Nevada Energy, Team Fishel. We do all their vehicles. So that's probably where we get most of our work. I do motorhomes for the RV company, Cruise America, which they're right around the corner from us. Good people.
People probably ding up their stuff all the time.
All the time. I mean, they're just clipping stuff at gas stations. They try to take them to the airport to pick people up, and they get stuck in the parking garages because you can't drive an RV to the airport.
Oh.
So we've had a couple of those we've had at our place. And that's why if you go to the airport, you'll see the sign that says the height, and it's just destroyed. Yeah, because people are idiots.
It's so funny. I grew up like you did with Auto Body. I grew up working at Ryder Truck Rental and U-Haul because my dad was a regional manager for them for years. And so at 16, probably not legal, I was shagging trucks for my dad where we would go to, one location. I'd get in a 26-footer. I could barely drive a Ford Escort. And here I have 26-footer just hauling ass, trying to get cars from Palmdale to LA or whatever. And we had this one horror story where this poor church had rented a truck, filled a 26-footer with canned goods, which is, several thousand pounds.
Oh gosh.
Dropped the suspension like 6 inches because it was so heavy. They pulled into their church parking overhang or whatever it was, unloaded all the canned goods.
Oh no.
The truck rose about 6 inches. And as they pulled out, they ripped off the top of the truck and ripped off the side of their church. And that was a pretty expensive fix because those fiberglass boxes on those trucks are not cheap.
No, you got to replace the whole thing.
Replace the whole thing. It was miserable. I come from LA where to run any business, you want an ice cream shop or you want to braid somebody's hair, it takes 19 different permits.
Yep.
I'm sure you guys are working with all kinds of chemicals and heavy equipment and there's some liability there. What's something about opening a business, especially a physical location business in Henderson, that people might not know, or some headaches that you've incurred having to be the business owner and the person that actually signs the checks?
Oh man, I'm glad you brought it up. I was just thinking of this story. So when I first started, I got this shop. And, when I got it, had a paint booth in it. So it had already been kind of permitted to be a body shop. So it was already kind of set up, luckily enough, but it was in shambles, it was been abused and it was been sitting there for a little while. So I go in there and I look at it and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm super paranoid because I started my business in Las Vegas. So that's where my first shop was for that year, and dealing with the permits, dealing with air quality control and dealing with, insurance, you name it. It's just a nightmare. I mean, those guys in Vegas, they're on you. I mean, they're sending people out there to check on you, the inspectors. I mean, they're just, they do their due diligence, but it's a little too much. So I'm dealing with air quality, and the guy that I was partners with that building hated me. My business was taking off. I was doing well. I had a deal to rent out this warehouse that had a paint booth in it. And I literally was trying to rip me off. This gentleman that owned the shop, I mean, it's, he's, who knows where he's at these days, but anyway, not a good dude. He literally wanted me to go out of business. He wanted to get my money for the deposit because I was going to, I was buying his paint booth essentially. So I had a building already permitted and I was going to start over and take over his shop, but we were sharing the space till I, took it over. And I mean, he just thought I was going to fail and he was going to make all this money off me. Well, I did well. And then all of a sudden he just literally shut the door on me and was like, you're not using my paint booth no more. I'm like, what do you mean you're not using my, he got real weird. And I was like, what is going on? I had to get attorneys involved. Like I literally went after this guy and he was found guilty and he was a douchebag. I mean, this guy was the biggest piece of garbage out there I've ever met. And, he really tried to rip me off. And here's this young kid trying to make life. And that's what I think that was my drive, in life, because I wasn't going to fail. I was like, there's no way in hell. I worked too hard to get here. I'm going to make this work. So he would call air quality control on me because we were painting in the building to get cars out. Like we had to make this happen. And we didn't have a booth because he literally locked the door on us. It's like, you're not using my booth.
So I always thought the reason we have a paint booth is for quality of the paint, but it's actually for quality of the air. So you're not releasing all that stuff out into the regular, the regular air.
Yeah, the VOCs and the fumes. But it's both. I mean, you get dust and things, but I mean, you see some people's paint booths. It's no better than I've had clean stuff come outside in a windstorm, when we were doing the mobile thing. 'Cause mobile, you can do it within a certain parameter, but the paint booth thing is mostly to catch the overspray. And so because we had to get these done. I mean, we would have fans. We just do them in the building at night. And this guy was calling air quality on me and they were like trying to give me a fine because you're not supposed to do that. But I'm like, I got to get these people's cars done. Like they're waiting on me. Like, I can't fail. So anyway, long story, I ended up getting out of there. Thank goodness. He had to pay me back my money that I mean, he was looking at a lawsuit. Like it was, he had to pay me. His lawyer said, you don't have a chance in hell. You can't rip this kid off. So I luckily went down to Henderson and I found this building. And before I went in there, I said, look, I don't want to have these issues. I want to have this thing ran through. And, I started calling the city. They were super cool. Hey man, no worries. You got to have this permit, this permit. They were super friendly. They walked me through everything. They were there to like help your business, not put you out of business, is the way I felt in Vegas. I felt like they were like, let's find a way to find this kid and, hey, screw him. If he goes out of business, we got his money. That's how I felt opposed to Henderson. And so I called up because the biggest thing is the fire department. The fire department has a lot to do with your building because you're dealing with chemicals that are flammable. So I got down there and I said, well, who's the inspector? It's a guy named Fred. I said, okay, can I get his number? They said, well, he might be at this number. Try him here. I mean, they were cool. Like I got to the guy that does the inspections. Said, hey, Mr., I can't remember his last name, but I remember his name was Fred. I said, would you mind like coming down here? I said, whatever it is, pay you for your time. I just want like a walkthrough, or what can we do? Like, so I know to get this thing up to snuff. So when you do your inspection, I'm not getting hit with a bunch of fines. I want to open, like I want to do this and open it with no issues. He goes, no worries, man. I'll come down. I'll be there. What time you want me there? I'm like, dude, well, your time is, more valuable than mine. You tell me. So he comes down. He walks through the building, goes, okay, well, this I would write you up for. This, this is cool. Get this approved, blah, blah, blah. So he goes, here's the number I'd call the company that, we refer sprinklers and stuff to, because they had chopped out. There was 2 paint booths in the building I had, and one of them was taken out and it was just kind of capped off. He goes, just do some of this, do a little cleanup and you'll be fine. And I was like, wow, that guy is cool as shit. I mean, he literally came out.
That would have been like a 16-month process in LA.
Oh God, yeah.
To try to figure out where the sprinklers are supposed to go and this and that.
Yeah, some study of,
you would have to have $500,000 just to like buy the building and sit on it while you're waiting for permits. And then this department disagrees with this department, but it sounds like Henderson much more business friendly.
Oh, you have no idea. Like, I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I had $35,000 in the bank and trying to open a business. Now, you talk about counting pennies and, living off credit. I mean, I call it Wright Bet because it was a gamble. I mean, I just had gotten divorced. I, had, paid that one away and I was trying to get this thing going. And I'm like, holy crap, man. Like, I got to get this. I got to make it work. I mean, we would get checks in for jobs, we're writing checks, paying bills, and I'm running the bank to make sure they're going through. I mean, it was struggle. Like, it was not easy. Don't get me wrong. I did this with a prayer and a wish, but anyway, I got Fred over there, to look through that inspection. Well, ended up, he said, well, hey, can I bring my wife's car by to get some repairs? So I was like, what do you need, man? So we'd started trading work. He was the coolest dude, man. He sent me so many people and we fixed his car. Like he was one of our first customers. And then when we had the building going and that, and we did the inspections, it went so smoothly because they knew we were in. Like, we knew people in the city. The people respected us. They knew we weren't some jerk off that, was going to come in here and do a crap job and then just bail. Cause there's a lot of that. It's transient. This town is so transient with people coming and going, make a quick buck and leave. And that's, I'm like, hey man, my roots are here. I want to live in the city. I want to do business in the city. My name's on the building. That's what drives me, to do well. And so that's what you do.
Yeah.
And it was just cool. I mean, he got my start, and then, people down the road, I got in with doing the city buses. That was one of the big things that really, really got my start. We were doing the mobile thing at first, and that's when we were work on site at the city, the transit buses, and we'd go out there and fix them. Well, they're like, hey, if you've got room in your facility, I can send you work. And I was like, well, okay, well, how do we get the buses here? He goes, well, you got to get some of the CDL. So our buddy drove for Miller's, Miller Brewing, and he would, after hours go with us and pick up the buses because he had a CDL, and we'd be driving double deckers, and we had like 8 buses at our shop one time, and dude, we were killing it. I mean, we were making so much, we were doing so much work for the city, and they were paying like, prevailing wages on oversized vehicles. It was like, oh my gosh, there's a whole nother avenue here I could, get into. So I was able to pay off my debts, get some money in the bank, and then, expand the business that way.
I've got a lot of contractor friends, some that are honest, some that are less than ethical. The less than ethical are like, oh man, you can hide a lot behind a wall. You can do a shoddy job on the plumbing. You can do a shoddy job on whatever. I had a contractor friend, quote unquote, who was going to buy a building that he had renovated for me. And he's like, oh, this will be perfect. I know where I hid all the asbestos and all the bad connections and whatnot. I'm like, why are you just telling me this now? Right. So I imagine it's the same way in cars, right? Like if you go to an unethical body shop or somebody that's just kind of like cut rate service, they can hide a lot behind the body panels, right? Like, do you have any stories of having to fix other people's screw ups?
Oh my God, today. Today.
I was not planning to ask that question, so it's crazy that it was today.
Yeah, a gentleman had been called up, talked to my son on the phone yesterday, said he wanted to bring it down for some frame straightening. It was a 14 Chevy Silverado 1500, 4-wheel drive, found out the backstory. He got in an accident. He didn't want the insurance to total it out. So he took it to somebody in Northtown, paid him $30-some. Horrid paint job down the side. I'm sure the airbags blew. Who knows what they did? But I'm looking at the frame. He goes, well, I think it's a tweak here. The 2 front tires, one of them is about 8 inches from the back of the fender. The other one's about 3 inches. So you're talking about 5 to 6 inches difference shifting on this guy's front end. I'm like, you got more going on than just frame. I started looking at it closer. They had started welding around where the lower control arms mount to the engine mount, like a very, very important part of the vehicle where you need to have structure, or you're going down the road, that thing could crack. You're losing your wheel on the freeway or whatever. I mean, it was horrible. And I'm like, what? I was like, this needs a frame. I go, you can't fix this. Like, who told you that this was fixed? He goes, well, they just kept dragging their feet and whatever. And he didn't want to get the whole story. Oh, turned out I saw in his truck, he was from Michigan. Well, my family's from Michigan. So we started talking this and that. I said, look, man, let me try to make some calls, see what I can do. But you need a frame. Like, maybe we'll find a used one that we can do. And
wait, a frame, like take the whole car off and rebuild it all in the frame.
Yep. You take the cab. It's surprising on trucks. You'd be surprised. There's only about 6 bolts holding that cab to the frame. And, got a lot of wires and stuff that come on, they unplug, but you can put a lift and lift the body of a cab right off of a frame and then do a swap. You have to have some way of pulling the motor and pulling the transmission, but a lot of that stuff, I mean, it's just plug and play. I mean, it takes some time, but yeah, you can swap frames. I mean, we've done many of them, but one of the most interesting was on like this big F-450 work truck, and we had to borrow the neighbor's forklift. And here we are, with this massive diesel motor and transmission because we didn't want to break them apart. So we had them tied up with this forklift, and we're swapping from one frame to the next after doing all the suspension, all the drivetrain, and we're rolling frames around. That was hairball. I mean, that was just something first time I'd done it was super cool. But here I am working a forklift with, who knows, 7,000 or 8,000 pounds of machinery hanging from it. We're
don't drop it. Don't drop it.
Please.
Don't drop
I'm just like, please just don't let anything happen. God forbid, but it's cool. I mean, we've had some great stuff we've worked on. I mean, we always say it's never too small, never too big. We'll do what we can. If we can't, we'll be honest and tell them. But
obviously everybody should just go to you, but how will people know if the service provider they're going with? Because, sometimes you just go with whoever your insurance tells you to go with or whatnot. Like, people should go to you because if I remember correctly, in the state of Nevada, people get to pick their own auto body shop if they're in an accident, right?
Correct.
And the insurance has to cover it at your prevailing wage or whatever.
Yeah, as long as you're licensed and bonded, I mean, you're a legit business. They have to be able to use you if you're picked by the owner. So the owner has all the rights in the world. The only thing the insurance company can do is make you go and get an estimate, like maybe at one of the facilities. It's always a crap estimate, which, we can prove many a times over. That's what they do. They give you something. They hope that you're going to go and cash that check and not get the repairs done because now they're off the hook for what it is. And as much as I work with insurance companies, I'm not contracted by any of them. They rip off their customers. And it's just a true fact.
So you don't have any insurance companies that refer business direct to you. It's like I would get in an accident, come over to you, say, hey, I have State Farm. They'll pay for the repairs, and then you work with the insurance company. But it's not like State Farm sending you the business.
No, the only people from insurance companies that send them are the brokers because they know us or they've been repaired before. A lot of word of mouth, a lot of referrals. Online advertising is how I get a lot of business, but I don't do a lot. I mean, it's mostly word of mouth. I mean, this town, you know how it is. It's small.
Yeah.
And especially Henderson. I mean, if you need somebody, someone's got a guy. Everyone's got a guy. And so that's where you got to get in those circles of people. My neighbors, it's just crazy. Like, I do one person's car and then 4 other neighbors find out and they're like, oh, I got something too. Or if you're at a party, how it is, your cocktail party. And what do you do for a living? I own a bike shop. Man, can you walk outside with me real quick and look at my car?
Yeah.
You know how many times that happens? I mean, oh my gosh, it's just, it's just crazy. I mean,
I was on a call today with a bunch of guys from San Diego, and there must be the version of you, your doppelganger down in San Diego, because the guy was like, oh man, guys, sorry I was late for the call. My wife was on the way to drop kids off at school. She started smelling burning. Turns out the car was on fire.
Oh my God.
Everybody's okay, whatever, and before, like, the words were still hanging in his mouth over here like a cartoon bubble. 3 people were like, oh, I got a guy to fix the car. It's like, how about you ask about his wife and kids first?
Yeah.
And they're like, no, they just wanted to refer their auto body guys. So I thought that was pretty funny, man.
That is funny.
What's something that people might not understand about doing business in Henderson? Like, maybe some young entrepreneur stumbled across our podcast and they're like, oh, I want to start XYZ business. Maybe it's something as silly as flipping shoes, or they want to open a Pokeball place or whatnot. What's something that you would tell like a young business owner in Henderson of like, hey man, this is how you build a successful business?
I think the biggest thing is your product good? Are you selling something that's legit? Is it yours? Is it a franchise? What is it? And that's where I'd kind of, because I'm the type of guy, when I meet someone younger than me, I'm like, dude, if I had someone like me that, would have told me what I'm going to tell you right now, it's worth more than gold. I mean, that's the thing is I was always, when I was brought up, I was one of the younger kids in the whole family and stuff. So I always listened to elder people, and I always learn, you respect your elders, you ask questions. That's who's going to teach you. Think of that. Like, you're getting a free education from somebody that's going to give you advice. So for me, I always tell these younger people that are getting in business that, look, you're going to hit some hard spots. it's always going to be rough. It's never going to be easy. If you're that lucky, then man, you go buy a lottery ticket because you don't need to work. If you're that lucky, I go, it's just, you got to bust your ass. That's what it is. But I go, if you have something you care about and you love and you can stand behind it, the community behind you is going to stand behind you too. And if they like it and it's actually legit, you're going to make money. I mean, it's going to sell. You just have to have something that is legit. And that's what I tell them. I say, hey man, if you're just here to, do this and sell it or something, maybe Henderson's not for you, because Henderson doesn't play. I mean, these people out here, man, they talk. I mean, it's a small town. It's like anything else. You buy a new car, all your neighbors know, and they're asking about it. What did you pay? Where'd you get it from? Who'd you get it from? Oh, that dealer over there? I know that guy. Where, everyone knows everybody in Henderson. So that's the thing. You get in these circles and you treat people right. They're going to take care of you. And that's what I think. Because Vegas it's a small town, but it's I guess it's larger now. But when I came here in the 80s, it was small. Everybody knew everybody. Even though it's large, it's transient. So the people that are here have stayed here and made a name for themselves. So you might be known as the good guy or the bad guy. Start off on the right foot.
Yeah. It's so funny. I went into a Hyundai dealership because I'm looking for a new SUV for my wife. And the guy, shout out to Malik at the Hyundai right over here on Boulder Highway. I was talking to him and he started asking some of the qualifying questions. And I'm like, dude, I coach salespeople. I coach businesses. Like, you don't have to give me the spiel. But he was asking genuine questions, right? He wasn't trying to do the shady salesperson thing. He was like, oh, I noticed your cauliflower ear, man. Where do you work out? I was like, oh, I do jiu-jitsu at 10th Planet. He's like, man, I used to wrestle in high school. We just sold this girl, Marissa, a car. And I'm like, Marissa, she teaches at my wife's school. He's like, yeah, she referred me somebody else at 10th Planet. We're helping another family over there. And I'm like, this is just a small town feel that in LA, my 3 best friends lived an hour and a half away. We had no commonality in our neighborhoods. We were never going to run into somebody that either of us knew. Right. And we couldn't get together on Friday night for the game because it's like, all right, well, which 3 out of the 4 of us are going to take a $200 Uber so we can drink? And that's been one of the big things living in Henderson. It's like we put up the bat signal on Saturday night at 4:00. Hey, UFC at our house. And there's like 5 families here in 20 minutes and, we're cooking. And it's just like, it's such a different vibe than other big cities I've lived in. And it's like, I don't know how to describe it, but it's like a little big city here.
Yeah. It's super unique, right? It's just like you talking about Henderson Hyundai, right?
Yeah.
Hey, Benny over there in service, one of my really good friends. I've known him since he sold tires for Goodyear. And, he just the other day sent somebody over to our shop. We don't even do work for their dealership anymore because they've changed different owners. And it's insanity. I mean, we've been doing work with these guys for so many years. You remember when all the Kias and the Hyundais were getting stolen from that TikTok challenge? Well, you have to go to a body shop. That's the only one that can actually do the repairs. They break a window. They sometimes, they break your lock. And so it's got to go somewhere that can be repaired. And sometimes there's paint damage because now it's a stolen vehicle. So there's, everyone's claiming everything on this damn insurance claim. So we were getting we must have done, probably 300 or 400 vehicles that were broke into during that time. And the guy making the money was the locksmith because he'd have to come over and key the car. And we were just, this poor guy, I put his kids through college. He was, I was just writing checks to him. I was like, man, I might as well just give you a key to the place because I feel like you're a partnership or something.
So that Hyundai TikTok challenge and Kia TikTok challenge was good for the locksmith. So somebody got rich off of that.
We did okay. We're not gonna lie. We made money, but it was just like, oh my gosh. Like, we felt bad, but it helped. It kept us busy. Unfortunately.
All right. I'm going to ask you a couple Henderson specific questions because you've been here for so long since the 80s. And this is going to be hard because I know you got a lot of opinions.
Sure.
But best local restaurant?
Oh, gosh. It depends what kind of food because they're all good. You got to say, okay, let's say if you're Italian.
Let's go with Italian.
Okay.
Beat me to it.
Yeah. Rudy at Il Chianti. Man, when he opened that place, we were with some of his first customers. Amazing. And I live right by there. He's been to my shop. I ran into him at the store. I have old cars and I go to his shop and he's always gets in them. We go for a ride around the block. He loves old cars. Cool dude. We became friends. He's super good dude. Obviously Johnny Mac's, another kick-ass place.
Oh man, I love that place.
Man, I'm trying to think what else.
That's good, man. Okay. This is going to be really relevant for you. Worst Henderson traffic spot, or where do the most accidents happen in Henderson?
Well, I got on the freeway right over here and I'm sure you've seen the backup going from they call it the 11, but it's the 95, going to the 215 curve right there. Man, I see people get smacked up there all the time.
Dude, my buddy almost died there. Really? He sadly, shout out to Jordan Worth and that he's okay. He's a 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu black belt.
Oh, wow.
I was taking a private lesson from him. And when we started, I was like, Jordan, just so you know, man, I can come to class. I can get like 90% of the value in class that I can for a private lesson. I am paying you for a private lesson because I'm paying for your time. I'm a really busy guy. If you can't be on time and you're like all these other stoner jiu-jitsu kids, that's totally fine. I get it. No problem. But like, I just want to let you know, like, if I'm going to be here at 10, we got to be here at 10 working out, not like 10:15, not 10:30, not last minute cancellation. Yeah. Now I feel horrible for telling him that because that guy was rushing down the freeway, getting off at Auto Circle Drive right there, and boom, rear-ended somebody. Jordan, you're a moron, didn't have his seatbelt on, split his head wide open. I mean, luckily he's got a hard head across the windshield. It might have actually got his car repaired at your shop. But yeah, that whole area right there, that freeway interchange, and then at the auto row exit there.
Yeah, Auto Show Drive.
Auto Show Drive. That's brutal, man. I've seen a lot of fender benders there.
Yeah, it's gnarly. I mean, that getting off on Sunset where I'm at, where I'm 95 in Sunset. So when you get off right there, everyone's looking to the left, watching traffic, and it verges right when you're going eastbound. And I mean, boom, boom, right into the back. I mean, my son got hit. I've almost been nailed a few times where luckily I see and I keep creeping up, or I'll hit my horn so they hear me. But it's been, I mean, that's nuts. Right on Sunset right there by my shop. Another big place.
You just put a little billboard right there, man.
I actually did. I actually thought about it. Like, I was like, man, I could probably put one of those little makeshift ones that people have. But one of the worst places, hell, I see a lot is on my road going down Horizon, getting onto the freeway there.
Yeah.
Right by that 7-Eleven. Well, there's a Southern Nevada Health District building there, and you got to come down, from the freeway and do a U-turn.
Yep.
I mean, I don't know what these people do. The building you go by there today, there is plywood on that building because people are just slamming into each other, going into the bushes there. And I've seen cars flipped over. I mean, right by my house. I'm like, oh my God, what are you guys doing? Like, it's a 35, 45 mile an hour zone. It's like, how hard do you get hit to flip your car?
They really got to get into that medical center, that dialysis. They're just like,
no, it's health district.
It's health district.
Yeah, it's just those people that are, doing inspections, and I don't think you go there to get any treatment. I think it's just an office. Like, oh my God. But I think if they're late, they get written up. I don't know what the hell they do there, but I swear that's one of the worst places I've seen wrecks. And I mean, it's great because I go by and work, and I'm just going to throw cards out to them next time.
What's a business you wish Henderson had? Like, man, when is this business going to open up in Henderson?
Oh God. I don't know if you have farm basket chicken.
What?
Farm basket chicken.
I don't know what that is.
Oh my gosh. So if you've been to Vegas a long time, everybody knows Farm Basket. It was there's one on Desert Inn and Eastern. They used to be over there in the center of town. There's another one, that one closed down. The only original one is on Charleston and Jones. And they were going to build one in Henderson. They had plans to do it. COVID hit. So they ended up building it it just opened recently over on Charleston. And right off the 95 in Charleston, on the east side of Charleston. Not the greatest area, but some of the best chicken in the world. It's worth it. It's like going to your grandma's house.
What is this place called?
Farm Basket.
Farm Basket.
Yeah, just Farm Basket. It's chicken. They sell claquitos. They have, it's just fried chicken, but my goodness, they have a turkey sandwich called the Gobbler, and the Clucker, which is a chicken one. And they're to die for. I drive all the way across town to see my dentist, which Dr. Luis, great guy, been going there for a year, good Brazilian dude. He went to school, so I got to give a shout out to him. This dude went to school in Brazil to be a dentist, came out here to the United States to be a dentist. Well, they didn't look at any of his paperwork. They're like, no, you have to start over. So he went to dental school twice. So, my wife loves this guy. I switched from my original dentist, which is the guy that I volunteered for all those years. I wrote me recommendation letters. So I was going to go into dental, to Dr. Luis, because this guy was getting ready to retire. And so we started using him. Well, oh my gosh, we're talking, and he looks on Facebook and goes, how do you know this guy Byron? I go, he was my suite mate in college. He goes, I went to dental school with him. So one of the guys, that just talk about a small world again, right? Henderson, Vegas Valley. It's just trippy. And so we're still good friends. Like he comes over, we go out, the dentist guy, it's just cool. But the Farm Basket is right by there. So I go there and I get my teeth cleaned. You know how it is. You don't want to eat anything, but I'm like, damn it, I'll eat this later. So I'll go to Farm Basket, get chicken, and take it all the way home and leave it in the warmer tray, just so I could eat it later. Cause I'm like, wait till the mint taste or whatever that crap is they use to do the fluoride treatment on your teeth. Oh man. But man, oh my God, Farm Basket is one of the best. I wish they had one out in Henderson because it would kill it. They're getting more stuff out here. I mean, that, and then the other one, Schlotsky's. I don't know if you ever had Schlotsky's sandwiches, but there's, again, another place that they used to have one on Sunset. And I was there almost weekly. I love it. They had this hot ham and cheese. Phenomenal. I'm over here drooling. And they had one right there, closed down. And I met the guy, I talked to him, he was going there all the time. He started knowing me by name. He's like, dude, and I was like, and he said, he's struggling. He goes, they just weren't, everything was getting crazy. This is COVID time. I think it was closed down. And the only one I know of in town, I think there's one in the Excalibur Casino, I believe, at their food court. And again on Charleston and like Charleston, Decatur area. There's one over there by the old, well, it used to be called Red Rock Theater if you've been around that long.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is like the only one in town, but they're just, again, they're like a homely, it's a franchise, but man, you go in there and you feel like you're in like a real deli, like something back east style. It's just super good food.
Yeah.
And that's what I wish they had out here, but it's like anything else. I mean, Henderson's got its great place. And if you got to go somewhere, it's not far. The nice thing about Henderson, there's no, how it is traffic. Leaving Henderson, going from anywhere, it's great. I mean, if you're like in Summerlin or in North Las Vegas, you're hitting traffic no matter what time of day.
It's a brutal drive sometimes.
Henderson's got great roads, get in and out. I mean, they're doing some improvements. Boulder Highway avoid like the plague, but that's
supposed to be done fairly soon. Like they're 1 year in and they said they've made more progress than expected, which I don't know. Might be the first time a government program's ahead of schedule.
Yeah, I don't know. I went down on it the other day and I'm like, my shop is right by there and it's a nightmare. There's just, I don't see anyone working. I don't know if it just, I don't know. Hopefully it's getting better, but it seems like it's just a mess still. So
talk to the people real quick as we finish up here. Who needs to talk to you? Who needs to come see you at their auto body shop? Where are they at in the stage of their car, of their accident, of their restoring their classic car? Like when do people need to talk to Scott at Wright Bet Auto?
I don't try to do classic cars for a living because you're married to those vehicles and they take a long time. I mean, my shop would be full of cars backed up for years. So I pick and choose who I deal with on those, but mostly insurance is the best thing. So you're in a wreck and you're like, what do I do? What's my next step? You got to call someone that you trust. And again, look at our reviews. Ask your friends. Somebody's probably been in my shop or knows somebody that has, and that's who they trust. So I would always say, call us. Hey, I don't care if you choose us or not, but get some education. Like, hey, what can I do so I don't screw this up? Can I take a check and get Joe Blow down the street to do it for less? And it's like, let me tell you why you wouldn't want to do that. Or if you did, the good and the bad or the chance you're taking. So like we're straight up. We'll tell you, hey, is this worth doing? Is this worth taking a chance on? Or is this, what should I do on my claim? Because sometimes making a claim is not worth it. Your rates are going to go up. And if it's only so much money, okay, let's say you have a $500 deductible, but your repair's $700 or $800. Okay, you're going to pay you got to pay your $500 anyway. But for $300 or $400 over that, you have nothing on your record. You're not going to pay for it over the next 2 years with your premiums. So I make the claim. I mean, I hate to say it, insurance is there to be used, but only if it's necessary.
Yeah. To me, insurance is for catastrophic stuff. I get in a 3-car pileup and I'm staring down the barrel of $100,000 bill. Okay, I'm going to use my insurance. So it's $1,000 to get the dings and scrapes and all the stuff out of my car because I have an ego around what my car looks like.
Sure.
I'm just going to pay you some cash to make it look pretty.
Right. And that's the best thing. It just talk to somebody. I mean, I try to tell people the best thing, like, again, is fleets too. Like we deal with a lot with fleet vehicles and that's been, very, very successful for us because you're dealing with a company that takes accountability. I mean, we fix things. We do it the right way. I mean, I've seen stuff come to my shop and I do, Golden Entertainment. They have the PT's pubs. They own the Stratosphere. I've got a great relationship with them. I've been doing all their fleet and their fleet is huge. I mean, they have probably, I think, 80 vehicles between here and Reno. And, unfortunately, when you're on the road, and especially at night, because these are money collecting vehicles, these are, vehicles that are always hitting these bars to fix machines or whatever, they're getting nailed by people that are driving under the influence or driving drinks, no sleep. It's 3 a.m, 4 a.m. accidents. I mean, hell, they hit deer. I've had them towed down from Reno because they like us to work on. They can't find. I need to open a shop in Reno. He told me, he could keep you busy just up there, but he can't find a good shop. So it's like anything else. I mean, it's just if you have a business and you have a lot of cars, we're your guy. I mean, we would be able to help you out. We know how to get things done quickly. You take it to another shop, it's going to sit there. When they get to it, they get to it. They don't give a crap. They have so much work from the insurance company that they give them. They don't care about quality because they're under contract. They get work no matter what. If you look at the reviews online of Gerber's and these big companies, they're terrible. I mean, they are horrible reviews, and it's because these people they've taken way too long. They've charged them more than they told them they're going to charge them. They do crappy work. The penny doesn't matter. And they won't fix it. Like we've had to have them pay us to fix their jobs because they had 3 chances at it and couldn't get it right. I mean, for instance, there's and not just Gerber's. I mean, it's, Crash Champions, all these other big franchises. And I've been approached. I mean, I've been approached probably 6 times this year to see if I want to sell. Oh, do you want to, get out of the business? Oh, what do you want to do? This and that. And I'm like, no, I like what I do, man. Everyone knows me. I enjoy going to work. I mean, that's what I do. I love my job. I get to see people every day and put a smile on their face when they get their car back ahead of schedule, under budget. And, they weren't expecting any of this. And they're like, oh my God, I was so distraught and upset about this accident. Now I don't have to be because it's fixed and I can move on with my life. And so that's what helped, I almost feel like a doctor because I'm helping them with their tragedy, and now they feel better. It's kind of like what you would be as a doctor. So,
dude, that's the way to end a podcast. I love that note.
Yeah, cool.
Thanks for coming in, man. And we'll make sure we get all your information out in the newsletter, on social media. If you need to get your car fixed at any level, check out Scott at Wright Bet Auto. And thanks for being on, man.
Yeah, it's been great. I really appreciate it.
Hey, it's Scott Groves with the Henderson HQ podcast. I hope you got something out of that episode. If you enjoyed it, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the podcast. It really helps the show grow. And by the way, if you are a business owner or you know a business owner who has an interesting product, service, or just an interesting backstory, please get in touch with us. Email us at thehendersonhq@gmail.com. We would love to interview you because that's what this show is all about. It's about building community, supporting local, individually owned businesses, and just making Henderson a great place to live. And don't forget, go to hendersonhq.com and make sure you sign up for our newsletter. We send out a once-a-week newsletter, no spam, about the most interesting local businesses, hotspots, restaurants, community events. Thanks for watching the show. Really appreciate you.